Well, good morning, everyone. Wasn't that lovely that we had this concert? And now we're going to start off together singing a hymn. It's 593, and the words are printed in the program. So if we could all join in. Thank you, Solon and Alexander. Let me introduce our newest board member and Christian Science teacher, Pamela Concor, for some readings.
The Bible, Psalms. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret place of his tabernacle shall he hide me. How amiable are thy tabernacles, O Lord of hosts! My soul longeth, yea, even fainteth, for the courts of the Lord. My heart and my flesh crieth out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow hath found an house, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young, even thine altars, O Lord of hosts, my King and my God. Blessed are they that dwell in thy house. Matthew. And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing all manner of sickness and all manner of disease among the people. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, And when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. After this manner, therefore, pray ye. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. I shall now read from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy. Ark, safety, the idea or reflection of truth, proved to be as immortal as its principle, the understanding of spirit, destroying belief in matter. Home is the dearest spot on earth, and it should be the center, though not the boundary, of the affections. If you launch your bark upon the ever-agitated but healthful waters of truth, you will encounter storms. Your good will be evil spoken of. This is the cross. Take it up and bear it, for through it you win and wear the crown. Pilgrim on earth, thy home is heaven. Stranger, thou art the guest of God. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house, the consciousness of love forever. And I was asked to give just a few comments, because we keep it under 5 minutes. And I just wanted to say welcome to Broadview, and thank you all for your loving support. Broadview is the Ark. It is truly the active expression of divine love, meeting every human need. Whether the guests are hospitality guests or guests receiving nursing care, all their human needs are met. This allows the guests the opportunity to focus on their spiritual growth, recognizing their present spiritual perfection. Therein lies healing. I will read one line from Mrs. Eddy's poem from Mother's Evening Prayer. His habitation high is here and nigh. His arm encircles me and mine and all. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Pamela. The definition of ark is particular poignant for us today. My name's Melissa Scruggs, and it's my pleasure to be serving as the Deputy Executive Director here at Broadview. I'm sure you've all had a chance to peek in the open doors down the hall that we call Hospitality Lane. Over the last several years, and particularly in the last year, we've been cherishing the idea, how can Broadview better serve the Christian Science community? A line from the Bible's often come to mind, what have ye in the house? Well, we have a beautiful campus and we have many rooms. So very naturally, these rooms have been beautified and appointed and made welcome for you, for guests, for visitors, and for families of the patients that are receiving care right down the hall. You will see that each room has a synonym name attached with it. And you'd be interested to know that staff took a lot of time in considering what synonym best matched each room. Since doing this, our hospitality lane has now become synonym lane. And we've seen an increase in use of these rooms, and we've received a lot of positive feedback from those who have visited. We would love to invite you to come for a time of rest and study, for sitting out by our fountain, or walking around the garden, or just studying. We're right adjacent to the Audubon Deb Park if you want to take a hike. And remember, we're just minutes from downtown Pasadena. If you're enjoying this activities room, we'd also let you know that it's available for Christian Science Association meetings, and we have a lovely suite available for your speaker. Over the last year and a quarter that I've been here, I've seen many changes. Often these changes are small and incremental, but we feel the impact of them. And probably best of all is there's been a broad staff involvement with each one of these changes. Everybody's been a part of the improvement. And the staff involvement is becoming part of our culture. Staff input is welcomed, and open discourse of all the issues that touch all of us is greatly encouraged. We've established regular weekly and monthly staff meetings. Every Wednesday, we have a 30-minute managerial metaphysical meeting where we share ideas about the weekly Bible lesson. We also talk about current challenges that we're facing. And I have to say that personally, these meetings have so sustained me in my work. There's such an open sharing and exchange of spiritual ideas, and one idea builds on another. We then follow this with an operational meeting where we all look at what's ahead of us for the week. And this gives us awareness across departments of what's going on at Broadview. Finally, the first Tuesday of each month, we have a full staff meeting that's dubbed Brownies with Bill. During this special meeting, not only do the ones that are here in person, I should say, receive some yummy brownies, but it's also a time where the staff it's an open forum for the staff to ask any questions that they like. And then this is followed by a safety OSHA mandatory meeting. So I'm sure you're seeing by everything I'm saying that staff involvement and participation is really part of our culture here. And this gives everyone a voice, a place at the table. Over my time here, I've seen a great gain in fellowship and a coming together of what our mission is. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Director of Christian Science Nursing, Melanie Pilo-Netta.
Thank you, Melissa. She's been a wonderful addition to our family and has brought a lot of wonderful insights. Thank you so much. Dear friends, welcome. I'm blessed to serve as the Director of Christian Science Nursing here at Broadview. I have such deep respect and admiration for our wonderful Christian Science nurses and support staff that harmoniously work towards the goal of healing with the love and focus of Christian Science. We are far more than just skilled healthcare providers. Following Jesus' commands, along with the interpretations by Mary Baker Eddy, we're healers, we're guardians, advocates, and beacons of hope for our patients and their families. Together, we foster a safe and loving and nurturing environment where individuals can feel supported and empowered to heal. We all regularly and immediately anticipate and respond to the needs of our beloved patients. We also confer with families and loved ones and each other to ensure harmonious continuity of care and quality of life. From daily checks throughout the buildings, shared inspirations, we reflect divine principle and attentiveness to the manual bylaw for the Christian Science nurse found in the Manual of the Mother Church, Section 31. A member of the Mother Church who represents himself or herself as a Christian Science nurse shall be one who has a demonstrable knowledge of Christian Science practice, who thoroughly understands the practical wisdom necessary in a sick room, and who can take proper care of the sick. This last year, Broadview has weathered many storms, both figurative and literal. Mary Baker Eddy tells us, "We must find shelter from the storm and tempest in the tabernacle of spirit." The tabernacle or sanctuary that she refers to is the structure of truth and love, which rests upon and proceeds from divine principle. Being grounded in this firm foundation, our Christian Science nurses inspire everyone with their devotion, their character, their soundness of mind as they face daily challenges. Providing a haven or a sanctuary, it's not just a moral imperative, it's a fundamental tenet always upon the heart of the Christian Science nurses at Broadview. We make sure that our patients and their families feel included in their care and develop collaborative and mutual goals. We're present, attentive, and responsive to patient care needs and quality of life services with the tenets of compassion and empathy. We're mindful of relationships, recognize the unique nature and needs of our patients, and take guided steps in providing care. We're culturally sensitive, aware of the nuances of language and communication, and adapt our practice to meet the unique needs of each patient. Providing safe refuge to our patients is a privilege and an honor, and requires an understanding of the complexities and nuances of divine reality. It requires us to be aware of the storms and to be willing to face them with devotion, grace, and divine inspiration, with humility and attentiveness, as well as an earnest desire to listen and learn from our patients and their families. As we're guided along this path that we've embarked on at Broadview since 1947 and into the future, we affirm our loving commitment to providing safe haven to those who are in need. Always remembering that divine spirit is at the helm, guiding us on our voyage. And as Mary Baker Eddy writes in her poem, "Christ My Refuge," "My prayer, some daily good to do to thine for thee, an offering pure of love, whereto God leadeth me." Now, if you could please welcome our Manager of Christian Science Nurses Training, Fornes Simeja.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Since I took on this role, I have taught several levels of classes. I need some help. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Since I took on this role, I have taught several levels of classes. I have supported these students with mentoring in patients' rooms and overseeing the care that they give. I am committed to offering high-standard training, making sure that the students always give the best care, being orderly in everything they do, and doing to the patients what they would like to be done to them. My door is always open for them to come in and ask questions about their training at any time. And we all learn and practice that God always goes before us into each patient's room. Patient care, safety, and comfort are always a priority. When mentors are not available or the floor needs require it, I have stepped up to work on the floor, including weekends, to meet the patient's needs. At Broadview, it is wonderful that we all step up and help when needed. I meet with floor leaders every day and support their care needs of the patients with the students. I also meet with Melanie every day, and we collaborate on how to approach training and how to best support the patient's needs. We continue receiving applications from local and international Christian scientists interested in our training at Broadview. I am grateful to Lynn Shiren, who has joined our team to help with teaching and preparing workshops and webinars. These workshops, in-services, and webinars are a way of uplifting our nursing standards and the safety of our patients, because we talk about different topics to meet their needs. It is an exciting time here at Broadview. 2025 is bringing wonderful progress in Christian Science nurses education. We have a full calendar of all levels of training for those working towards journalisting. We also have 8 in-person continuing education sessions and 4 online continuing education programs, meaning that Broadview is providing 100% of the requirements of continuing education for Christian Science nurses worldwide. We are excited about new direct collaborations with other Christian Science training facilities in training and mentoring. The ongoing renovations of the Education Center on our lower level are lovely, and we hope you will take a tour after the meeting. I am grateful for all the love and support from the board, Bill, Melanie, Lynn, the Christian Science nurses, and for your good work being done in the field to support Broadview. Hymn 160, verse 1, written by our leader, Mary Baker Eddy, she says, "It matters not what be thy Lord, so love doth guide. For storm or shine, pure peace is thine, whatever betide." There can never be a time when we can be outside God's healing presence, no matter what seems to be going on. God has always met our needs concerning the training, teaching at the right times when we have enough Christian Science to cover the floor. I have enjoyed working with the students, and I'm looking forward to teaching more classes next year. Let's hear from my dear friend Patty Turner, who is the director of the Visiting Christian Science Nursing Department.
Thank you so much, Fornes. That was lovely and inspiring. On page 494 of Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, Mary Baker Eddy writes, "Divine love always has met and always will meet every human need." Think of that. Every human need. She doesn't say every other need, or every occasional need, or everybody else's need. Every human need. And on page 60 of the same book, she instructs us that soul has infinite resources with which to bless mankind. Fortified by these divine promises, these demonstrable spiritual facts, Christian Science nurses go forward every day in the service of our Lord, to witness God, divine love, meeting every human need. And because soul, God, has infinite resources with which to meet every human need, the ways in which and the means by which these needs are met are as infinite as the needs themselves. The knowledge of this is indeed an ark, a refuge from the deluge of mortal beliefs of sickness, sin, injury, lack, limitation, aging, mortality, and death, whereby we are safe and we can feel safe in God's care. In her poem, Christ My Refuge, Mary Baker Eddy writes, "And o'er earth's troubled, angry sea, I see Christ walk and come to me and tenderly, divinely talk." Sometimes human needs are best met in a haven such as Broadview, where round-the-clock witnessing, skilled assistance, and oversight are provided. Sometimes the human needs are best met in the privacy and comfort of one's own home by private duty Christian Science nurses, providing that same round-the-clock witnessing, skilled assistance, and oversight. And often, the human needs can be met by visiting Christian Science nurses, coming as needed, weekly, bi-weekly, daily, occasionally, to witness God's meeting of every human need and to provide skilled assistance and oversight, and or to teach family and or friends how to properly and prayerfully care for their loved ones. Sometimes the human needs can be met beautifully by telephone calls, by caregivers, by agencies such as Visiting Angels or Meals on Wheels, or by fellow church members. It isn't so much about the services being provided, but more so about the thought of the individuals providing those services. The point is, Broadview is dedicated to serving individuals in Southern California who are relying on Christian Science treatment for healing and are receiving such treatment from a Christian Science practitioner currently listed in the Christian Science Journal. We are here as a resource for you to assess and meet needs, provide guidance, offer practical suggestions, loan equipment and instruct you in its use, make referrals, and unwaveringly hold to the fact that divine love always has met and always will meet every human need. And that includes your need. The bylaw, Christian Science Nurse, along with each and every other rule and bylaw in the Mother Church Manual, was established by our leader under God's direction to maintain the dignity and defense of our cause. If you have a human need, please feel free to call us at any time. We are here to serve God by serving you. And consider inviting us to speak at your next church meeting, membership meeting, or to support your care committees. Christian Science Nursing is a God-provided resource for every one of us. Become familiar with it. Embrace it. Learn about it. Support it. And be so very blessed by it. Thank you all for being here this morning, for supporting Christian Science Nursing and Christian Science Nursing at Broadview. And now back to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Patty. That was awesome. These 3 reports show the efficacy of Christian Science healing in practice, daily, hourly, and moment by moment. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our Executive Director, Bill Cunningham.
Don't worry, Bill. There's so many people don't show that sign up to come to your meetings, so you don't have to worry. You can downsize. Is this wonderful or what? What a blessing. What a blessing. Thank you all for coming. So there's been significant deliberate stirring of thought and action over the past couple of years. The first premise that we embraced was that we have clients and customers here at Broadview. Our clients are those patients we serve. Our customers are the client's family, friends, and you, our Christian Science community. You are whom we serve. Our first order of business was opening arms. We moved Mrs. Eddy's iconic painting of open arms into the lobby as the first thing seen. Our arms are open to helping, serving, embracing you and our fellow man. The Broadview Board of Directors last year gave us a significant list of goals for 2024, which was demonstrating Mrs. Eddy's statement from last year: progress is the law of God, whose law can only demand what we can certainly fulfill. Wonderful things are indeed happening. Those directions included the following: hospitality wing, which you've heard about. The opening of the hospitality wing was designed to enhance the comfort and experience of visitors, teachers, and associations, providing a welcoming environment that aligns with the needs of the community. The stirred thought is that the order of our synonyms are not in the typical order. So as you're walking down the hall, you may start to think that they're in a certain order, and they're not, because the idea is to stir thought, and that's what our whole process has been. One of the next things was to enhance the education program here at Broadview. We've transformed that program into a published, full-fledged, calendared program providing structured learning opportunities and housing for students. This helps not only Broadview, but the whole field stay updated with the latest practices and standards through continuing education. Further, with special grants, we have renovated the lower-level training and education rooms to handle intimate and large sessions. The local training education program is integral to having a viable Christian Science nursing facility in your neighborhood. The students work on the floor and in the field, carefully managed by journalisted Christian Science nurses. They are the backbone of our service to you, your friends, and families. We've been exploring and are working closely with sister Christian Science nursing facilities on implementing operations, training, and education for consistency, best use of resources, and quality across all locations. This collaboration is already leading to wonderful shared resources and best practices. We were asked to develop relationships with local churches and Christian Science organizations. Building stronger connections with local churches and sister facilities like Alta Vista, the LA Visiting Nurse Service, Sunland, Joint Media Committee, and the Willows is intended to foster a supportive community network. This can enhance mutual support and resource sharing. We are not islands in the sand. We are one community. We are eager to open and continue meaningful dialogue together so that we can jointly support our Christian Science community seamlessly. Another charge was community engagement. We held our first of hopefully many community workshops supporting church and community care committees to better reach, care for, and support our church members that might need assistance. Another was a safe and secure facility. We've implemented several programs to enhance the safety and security for those of us at the facility. OSHA and fire training programs are in place, and a powerful communications app gives us instant information as to the location and status of everyone at any time. It's wonderful to see such a strong emphasis on community and the importance of generational continuity in Christian Science. The idea that healing and progress are best demonstrated through close personal connections with the next generation is very powerful. We see this in our daily guest book. Ensuring that families, practitioners, and volunteers can easily join and support their patients and communities is indeed crucial for fostering a sense of God's allness and goodness right where we are right where they are. I'm humbled with the passion of our staff and board of directors. Their fearless willingness to step into the boat and pull their oars in unison is inspiring. Friends, this isn't just God's business. He is our business partner, holding us at the elbow, buoying us effortlessly, even when waters seem troubled. There is no angry sea. We see Christ walk before us every minute of every day. Thank you. Done. As a side note, one of our staff loves, that's Stephen, who's been bustling around and helping so much, loves to bring historical Broadview pictures to us. I saw some lovely pictures of our rose garden with blooms much fuller and larger than they are today. It's still a lovely garden. I asked the gardener what was needed to bring it back. He shared that he needs about $800 per quarter to amend the soil and adjust the sprinklers. My wife Holly and I would like to donate the first quarter need of $800. If you would like to participate and help us keep this rejuvenation project moving, please reach out to Holly in the back. So, thank you. It's my true pleasure to introduce our board treasurer, my good friend, John Brandt.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank all of you for your support today on behalf of the board. A deep and heartfelt thank you from everyone who has been able to support us financially over the years. This past year, we are so grateful for a significant increase in donations from individual donors. As a former very significant donating organization for many years was no longer able to contribute, we saw the need to go deeper into our trust of divine love's provision and are rejoicing in the wonderful outpouring of support from the field. While extremely grateful for this supply of good, there is still a great need for further funding to keep our daily needs and to ensure that Broadview will be able to provide for those seeking Christian Science nursing care in the future. The theme for our meeting today is inspired by the tangible feeling of love and safety individuals feel when they walk through the front door at Broadview. We offer a haven for those seeking healing, where guests can enter the closet of prayer and feel surrounded by Christian Science nurses, embracing them with a pure and uplifted thought. Just as Jesus only allowed the healing consciousness of Peter, James, and John into the room when he was healing Jairus' daughter and shut everyone else out. Individuals coming to Broadview can feel the loving support of the Broadview staff, viewing them as already whole and complete. Many guests seeking Christian Science nursing care are not able to pay, and we are in great need of funds to provide for their care. We also require assistance with the day-to-day upkeep of our facility, payroll, and other essential processes and activities. We are thankful for any ideas or any connections you may have that could help us in this endeavor. We're reaching out beyond the Christian Science movement to see that Soul has infinite resources with which to meet our needs. We also gratefully accept and help facilitate estate planning and the appropriate notices and filing for IRS required minimum distributions. The past 18 months or so have been one of review, realignment, and rejuvenation. We have diligently worked to ensure that each earned or donated dime is used effectively towards our mission. We serve far and wide. Having a Broadview in your community is your decision. Will you reach out with us with ideas and resources? Will you be part of this important mission? Call Bill. He will welcome the conversation. Thank you. It is my pleasure to introduce our board president, Marilyn Mears. Her thoughtful and passionate stewardship has been inspiring.
Thank you, John. On behalf of the Board of Directors, it is with a joyous heart that we welcome each of you to Broadview's annual meeting 2024. Speaking on behalf of the board, which includes John Bryant, Pamela Conkar, and Sandy Hasse, we couldn't be more grateful for all the good unfolding at Broadview day by day. The reports we have just heard all point to how God is loving and protecting his beautiful sanctuary, Broadview, and his precious children. This year's theme, Broadview, a safe haven in the storm, shows us it is a sanctuary for healing and renewal. The image on the invitation of today's event, an ark resting on calm and peaceful waters, led by a dove holding an olive branch, speaks to the Bible verse, Genesis 7:17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. What a beautiful image, a thought picture of Christly consciousness undisturbed by the jarring testimony of the physical senses. It symbolized a resurrection of thought, a rising up, a lifting up from the belief of sickness, disease, and physical difficulties to renewal, strength, beauty, hope, health. The definition of ark in Science and Health includes God and man, coexistent and eternal. Truly, this is our message as we move forward into 2025. Our report is not so much a report, but a deeply felt thank you letter to all who have played a part in Broadview's progress and its continual unfoldment of good. We'd first like to thank God for giving us this beautiful sanctuary of healing and renewal right here in our neighborhood. His omnipotence and ever-presence is blessing all who enter through its doors. Broadview belongs to God. We'd like to thank the 3 board members who have stepped off after guiding Broadview through some tumultuous waters. They are Nancy Allen, Beata Hathaway, and Lynn Chiron. All three angels, all 3 mighty oaks who were steadfast in their conviction that God is at the helm and bringing his promise to fruition. This past year, we've seen such unselfed outreach that speaks deeply to the human affections. We'd like to acknowledge and express heartfelt thanks to the Orange County Principia Alumni Club for renovating the lovely garden outside this room. Linda Robison, the club president, is in the room. Thank you, Linda. Team Rubicon USA, a veteran-led disaster relief organization, for their skillful efforts to remove and trim trees and brush around the property, which reduced any fire hazard. This also includes learning some very valuable skills that are now being used to help our fellow Americans living in the South after the hurricanes. And we would like to thank our goat herder who, at a significant cost savings, brought over 600 goats to the property to remove brush from the hillside to meet fire regulations. We'd also like to thank our trained and strong metaphysicians, the Christian Science nurses, who daily demonstrate the efficacy of the power of healing. These nurses, both on-site and those who provide in-home care, express limitless, unselfed love, tenderness, thoughtfulness, and attentiveness. They are truly committed to expressing the Christ. Gratitude also extends to Broadview's extraordinary staff, which includes those in the front office, the tech support team, the maintenance crew, housekeeping, and the kitchen staff. They are all extremely professional and experts in their field. But more importantly, they are imbued with love. They grace the halls with cheerful faces and smiling eyes, greeting and embracing each other, guests, families of the guests, and newcomers. And we would be remiss if we did not thank the Executive Director, Bill Cunningham, and the Deputy Executive Director, Melissa Scruggs. Both are the finest in their respective fields. They work hard and are steadfast. Melissa has single-handedly overhauled the accounting system and put into place procedures that will be used for decades to come. We owe her a debt of gratitude. Thank you. And now Bill, our dear Executive Director. Have you ever heard a more exuberant laugh? Or noticed that every step he takes has a little bounce? Or seen someone reside over a group with more love, compassion, and enthusiasm? The vast amounts of experience and leadership he brings to the job was barely touched upon in his report. Mountains have been moved this past year due to his fortitude and willingness to let God take the lead. He is Broadview's true steward in every sense of the word, and he is someone you can trust and know that your donations and gifts are invested correctly and properly. Thank you, Bill. Also, a nod to Holly, his wife, a quiet force standing right next to him. Thank you. Additional thanks go out to our community, supportive community, the practitioners, the families and friends of our patients for their donations, metaphysical support, and notes of gratitude which stir our hearts. They are ever so appreciated. Thank you. And thanks to all of you who have joined us today. Your expression of love and support is seen by the very fact that you're here via Zoom or in person. What a unifying power of true brotherhood, as is described in Mrs. Eddy's familiar quote, "The rich in spirit help the poor in one grand brotherhood, all having the same principle or Father. And blessed is that man who seeth his brother's need and supplieth it, seeking his own in another's good." Come and be a part of this beautiful experience called Broadview. We're right here in your backyard. Join us as we move forward into 2025 recognizing Broadview as the safe haven God has given us. We are all united together in purpose, God's purpose. We ask you to be a part of it. We ask you to join us. Lovingly submitted, the Executive Board. Now let's welcome back Solani and Alexander, who will perform the solo, "He Shall Feed His Flock" by G.F. Handel.
Does anyone else have tears in their eyes? Thank you. Thank you so sincerely. So I've got to recompose. I would invite three wonderful practitioners come join us on the stage. We're going to have a special practitioner talk. We've got a little bit of technical issues to deal with, so if you'll just bear with us for a couple of moments, we'll be good. So. So put the mic on one end, on the end.
Oh, I get to be in the middle?
You get to be in the middle. So we're going to have you two pass this back.
Can we move over just a little?
You can. Make yourselves as comfortable as you like. And if you want to close in, you can. If you don't mind doing mic checks.
Checking. Checking. Mic check. Yes?
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I on here? No.
Top.
Okay. How's that? There you go. Bill, was it your idea to have us follow Celine?
I wonder about that too.
Right.
I mean, come on. We can all go home now.
Can just
Note,
be
note to
still.
self.
You're right.
We always do a recap afterwards. It's like, I don't know if anyone can follow Celine and Alexander. So it's our pleasure. Is we invited this year three wonderful practitioners to have a conversation with us. And we had a meeting about a week or 10 days ago with the board of directors and just kind of walking through what this was going to be like. And after about 45 minutes, I had to stop it, only because of being time, but it was so lovely listening to these three wonderful supporters of Broadview, who are just stellar people in our movement. And we want to thank each one of them. They're each going to give a short conversation, some ideas that they have, and then it'll be a conversation with them and us. I'll be the usher walking around with the microphone. So I'd like to introduce Mike Muslin.
Thank you.
Tim Myers. And our dear Robin Collins. So friends, we'll leave it to you.
Okay.
So thank you.
Want me to?
You want to go first?
Sure, why not? You know, we're noticed, or we're defined as a non-medical nursing care facility. That's an odd term. It's a term Medicare, I think, came up with. And this, of course, is opposed to a medical facility with matter physicians. And I'd like to talk about the comparison of a matter physician and a meta physician. The matter physician starts with a problem and matter as the source and cause of the problem. Then he seeks a matter-based solution. The matter physician doesn't necessarily make a connection to one's consciousness, one's quality of thought, and certainly not to their spiritual identity. Nor do they consider the effect of fear on the body. Now, in this non-medical facility, Broadview, we do use medicine, and we do have physicians. As you all know, our medicine is mind. And the treatment provided is metaphysical and done by metaphysicians. The metaphysician starts with spirit as the source of man's identity, excuse me, and recognizes only that which conforms to spirit. Now, in the 1823 Webster's Dictionary that Mrs. Eddy used in her time, metaphysical theology addresses the existence of God, his essence and attributes. The science of metaphysics, which prevailed in ancient schools, is now not much regarded by the matter physician. I can never express enough gratitude for all Christian Science nurses who have been willing to equip themselves to take proper care of the sick, as the manual requires, while the sick are recovering under Christian Science treatment administered by the metaphysician, their practitioner. Our patients are not in a hospital, but instead they're in the hospitality of love. And love is operating to remove all problems and restore each patient to their, quote, normal condition of health and harmony. Now, this is done in a very opposite manner used by the matter physicians. Instead of starting with a problem and looking for what's wrong, the metaphysician starts with God in every case, seeing only the patient's original perfection. Our leader states, realize the presence of health and the fact of harmonious being until the body corresponds with the normal conditions of health and harmony. That's on 412 of our textbook. Now, while this is being done, it's helpful to remember our leader's impressive manner of defining the omnipotent power of spirit in our textbook on 514, where she writes, tenderness accompanies all the might imparted by spirit. Real tenderness, compassion, thoughtfulness, and consideration for the patient's comfort and progress should be cultivated by Christian Science nurses as well as by practitioners. This certainly falls under the manual provision of practical wisdom needed in the sick room. Both the Christian Science nurse and the practitioner are rendering the Christian service of doing for patients what patients have been mesmerized into believing they could not do for themselves. Also in miscellany, the knowledge that all things are possible to God excludes doubt, but differing human concepts as to divine power and purpose of infinite mind and the so-called power of matter act as the different properties of drugs are supposed to act, one against the other. And this compound of mind and matter neutralizes itself. Long ago, not too long ago, but long ago, I went to a 50-year reunion for my high school. I walked into the room, I thought I was in the wrong place. I asked myself, who are all these old people? I saw gray hair, bald people. I said, I don't recognize these people. And then I started to visit. And as I visited, I could recognize my old friend. It all came back. I no longer saw them as a 70 or 80-year-old person. I saw them as the youthful friend I used to play with after school. And I just loved that. It made me see beyond the human appearance. Now, Mrs. Eddy writes, God creates man perfect and eternal in his own image. Hence, man is the image, idea, or likeness of perfection, an ideal which cannot fall from its inherent unity with divine love, from its spotless purity, and its original perfection. There it was, my old friend. Original perfection. I needed to recognize him, study him. Why, invite him to go with me everywhere I went. I didn't want to go anywhere without my old friend, because my old friend, original perfection, was me. The original perfection knows nothing of error. In fact, doesn't know anything of progress. The concept of progress is foreign to perfection. Perfection only knows perfection. The only progress that exists is the enlightenment of our thought. So, I want to read a part of a letter that Mrs. Eddy wrote to one of her students in 1893. Very instructive for every nurse and practitioner. My dear student, never address the person who errs by treating them mentally or treating yourself against it. Never recognize the person in your treatment. You must not. But take up the error only, and never doctor the error much, but make yourself so conscious of the opposite truth that the error disappears. No, nothing can come to you or go from you but what God sends, and therefore that no mortal mind can influence you. For only one mind exists, and this is immortal love. Overcome the evil mind with good. Never talk to it or of it, but hold steadfastly to good, love, and do not feel any other power exists. This will deliver you. If you dwell in thought on any person, it will hinder you from overcoming personality in your healing and casting out sin. There is no personality, and this is more important to know than that there is no disease. Signed, Mother. God only knows one thing. You know what that is? Himself. God has done all, knows all, and is all. So how does he know us? He must know us as his unbroken, individualized, and uncalendared reflection of his allness, himself. He knows his own image, individualized as each of us, our old friend, original perfection. In this context, healing may not be the clearest word to use. What the metaphysician is really doing is revealing the patient's original perfection that is and always will be. Or you might say, the Christ is revealing ours and our patient's original perfection to us. If God has done all, then as his reflection, revealing ours or our patient's health is 100% doable. I was told by one Christian Science nurse that before she enters the sick room, she first declares that Christ is already there preceding her into the room. Then she enters, refusing to see what she's looking at, and goes about her work of delivering practical care. In Psalms we read, "Open thou mine eyes, that I may perceive wonderful things out of thy law." This is what's going on here at Broadview with every nurse, practitioner, and patient. Thank you. Now, Tim was smart enough to bring an iPad so he didn't need old school with paper.
I was smart enough to know we should go home now. That was terrific. No, you want to go? You want me to go? I don't care. Go ahead.
Let's fight about it.
Go.
What a beautiful place and day. There is a beautiful, holy equilibrium to be cherished and guarded here at Broadview. This haven of love's divine activity to meet human need, a harbor, a refuge, filled with favorable opportunities. The practice of Christian Science nursing is a profound blessing to mankind, involving a priceless collaboration of healing efforts. Consider this proverb from Ecclesiastes. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. A paraphrase of this verb in the Message reads, a three-stranded rope isn't easily snapped. And from the International Children's Bible, a rope that has three parts wrapped together is hard to break. Wrapped together like a braid of hair divided into three equal portions, each one held tightly and gently, then each portion wrapped firmly around the portion next to it in a known pattern. It is the equal proportion of hair in the three strands that give the finished braid strength and beauty. And they keep the whole head of hair in good order, with lasting form without tangles. Metaphorically, the wrapping together of the triply and equally divine spiritual capacities of patient, practitioner, and nurse is unbreakable, fostering strength, harmony, endurance, healing, and joy for each participant. A Broadview guest who is a patient hopes to feel the touch of Christ, truth, which typifies complete healing, such as Jesus illustrated and taught. Daily treatment by a Christian Science practitioner, which directly addresses the patient's thought to find it transformed by divine mind, respects the individual's own God-given capacity to grow spiritually and to engage soulfully with Christian Science nurses who give inspired practical care. Each qualified Christian Science nurse maintains her or his own distinct professional healing practice of nursing, giving proper attention to the unique needs of each patient. The moral and spiritual, as well as physical, demands on the nurse's labors of love embody the essential fact that, as stated in Science and Health, love is impartial and universal in its adaptation and bestowals. Nurses bear witness to each patient's divinity, purity, intelligence, and perfection as a child of God, no matter how things look externally. How right and good it is to hold one another in dear respect as we feel and witness the Christ power expressed in each of the three strands of our braided together healing activity, here and elsewhere. Each patient's individuality is as equally worthy, pure, and blessed as each professional helper and others who support the activity. We lift up our hearts and hands in prayerful recognition of each patient's infinite capacity for good, as in Mrs. Eddy's reference to the temple of the Holy Ghost, the patient's spiritual power to resuscitate himself. Science and Health 365. And let's remember this statement from Mrs. Eddy from Retrospection and Introspection. The work of healing in the science of mind is the most sacred and salutary power which can be wielded. As students of Christian Science, church members, neighbors, family, friends. We have daily opportunities to exercise this respect and love of one another's spiritual capacity to love and be loved, to heal and be healed. There's so many ways that that the fundamental essence of Christian Science nursing comes into our daily lives. And we see evidence of this in our periodicals and in the things we share at church and testimony meetings. And it's really indicates the wholeness of a life practice of Christian Science. Consider the bold action of the mother of Moses, divinely led to place her infant son in an ark of bulrushes, in total trust in the power of spirit to preserve his life. Consider his sister, bravely witnessing his progress, a nurse who facilitated the provision of a nursemaid for her brother, even his own mother. Moses, the child himself, several months old, even at so tender an age, capable of feeling and responding to the sacred, salutary, saving power of one mind, God. In a general sense of practicing Christianity in our daily lives, the essence of these roles is ours to manifest. By the way, if you search on JSH Online for a threefold cord, there are a number of ways that proverb is used to exemplify aspects of Christ's healing. And one of them, I found this yesterday, is the text of the Mother Church annual meeting in 2014, in which is a discussion of Christian Science nursing with very special modern-day illustrations of a threefold cord in action. And one of the individuals who you will read the presentation of is in here, in the room with us. Well, I think we all do realize that an individual being treated in Christian Science, whether we're treating ourselves, someone else, or involved with the nursing or family support, here or elsewhere, is thoroughly blessed through this holy influence and is a profound blessing to others.
There's some advantages to going last, and there's some that are not so advantageous. That was terrific, you guys. It's nice to see so many friendly faces, and I don't see any unfriendly ones, I don't think. That's good. I want to talk for a couple minutes about the fact that Christian Science is not a Band-Aid. You know, sometimes I think it gets treated that way in the conversations that I have with people. You know, they call and they've got a wound or they've got a problem, and all they want is for the problem to go away, the wound to disappear. And that's understandable. I get that. But the fortunate thing for us is that knowing about Christian Science is as much about making the problem go away as it is transforming lives. In fact, it's more about transforming lives than making a problem disappear. The nurses here at Broadview know that because they're very well versed at the idea with Band-Aids. They know what to do with Band-Aids, they know how to lift, they know how to do all of the practical things, but they also know that more important than all of that is the transformation that needs to occur in thought, making the new man, putting on the new man. And that's what makes them successful. It's that prayer that helps to put on the new man. Now, they're not giving Christian Science treatment in the way a practitioner does. We know that. But they are doing what Jesus did, beholding that perfect man, right where the sinful mortal man appears to mortals. And those prayers that are prayed here, that are prayed everywhere, that we all pray, are based on love. You know, if you take away the love, what have you got left? A bunch of words. We end up talking the talk, but not walking the walk. And it's equally as important for us. In fact, it's more important for us to walk the walk than it is to talk the talk. Let me give you an example. Guy pulled up at a intersection. The light was yellow. So he stopped. The lady behind him was terrifically irate. She thought he should have gone through that light because she could have fit in behind him and she would have been on her way. So she was so irate, she began pounding on her horn. She began giving him the universal signal of unhappiness with her hand. She yelled obscenities at him. A police officer came walking up to her window and said, "Get out of the car, please." He handcuffed her, put her in the back of his car, took her down to the police station, booked her, put her in a cell. About 2 hours later, she was called up to the front desk where the officer was. And he said, "You know, I'm terribly sorry." He says, I pulled up behind you and I saw the bumper sticker that said, "Follow me to Sunday school." The bumper sticker that said, "I love church." The bumper sticker that said, "Jesus is my friend." And he said, inevitably, I thought that car must have been stolen. Now, that woman was a fan of Jesus, but not a follower. She was probably good with Band-Aids, but she wasn't good with walking the walk. I don't want to be that woman. Anybody in this room want to be that woman? I don't think so. But that's the difference that love makes. That's why we need that sense of love. Remember what Jesus said about his followers. They're going to be identified by their love. Mrs. Eddy makes some interesting statements. I mean, she talks about love all the way through all of her works. But there's an interesting statement that was reported in Christian Healer, the biography Christian Healer. In June 1901, Mrs. Eddy wrote to a student, "Wisdom is 1/3 of Christian Science. 2/3 is love." How does that affect what we do as Christian Scientists? Do we spend more time in our books, or do we spend more time out loving? Now, it doesn't mean we can't love while we're in our books. I get that. I understand all of that. But when I read that, I thought, you know, it really changes how I think about my practice. Because my practice, yes, I need to know the ins and outs. I need to have have a developing sense of the wisdom. I need to spend time with the books. But more importantly, when people call, I need to feel the love. I need to express the love. And that's, the nurses here at Broadview know that. And that's what they do. That makes us disciples of Jesus, followers of Jesus, not just fans of Jesus, or not just fans of Christian Science. It's all about that practical sense of love. What did she say when she was asked about instantaneous healings? Some of you will know that. Most of you will probably know it. It comes from, we knew Mary Baker Eddy. And she was asked in class, you know, how could they instantaneously heal? And Mrs. Mims, who is the one who's telling about this, says that many arose. Actually, she asked the question, what can we do to heal instantaneously? And many arose. Some said, realize the ever-presence of good. Others deny the claims of evil. There were many answers, but when they had finished, she said, as I remember, I will tell you the way to do it. It is to love. Just live love. Be it. Love, love, love. Be all love. There's nothing else. That will do the work. It will heal everything. It will raise the dead. Be nothing but love. That's the foundation of what we do. Whether we're practitioners or nurses, whether we're patients, whether we're friends of patients, it's all about that sense of love. And it's love that heals. And it's that transformation, seeing ourselves more clearly as that perfect image and likeness of God. Seeing those that we come into contact with as that perfect image and likeness of God. It's all about how we think. Sometimes I think, this is just a little aside, I don't even have this in my notes, but sometimes I think, what if I had a thing on my forehead that projected every thought I thought out into the world? How well would I do? If you were standing in front of me and maybe I hadn't seen you before and I didn't like your dress, I didn't like your hairdo, and it just came right out, no censorship, no nothing. It might make us think a little bit more about how we think about, what we focus on. And the cool thing about it is we're needed. There isn't anything more needed at this point in time in the history of the world than more love. You read about the lack of it, you see the lack of it, you feel the lack of it. We've got the tools. We know how to do it. So let's get on it. Thank you.
No fair having to be up here with you.
I feel the same way with you. So we're going to do questions. Bill, we're going to do questions now, right?
Questions, or if you'd like to bounce off each other?
Yeah, do we want to talk?
Whatever you'd like to go.
Yeah, we could do it. Whatever works. You want to.
Sure.
Sure.
This is a thread that we have. Thank you. This is a thread that we have 3 practitioners on the floor, so let us take advantage of it.
I'd love to be taken advantage of.
Actually, my question is answered already by the 3rd speaker. And my question is, what is the best practice on how can we still the storm instantaneously without delay? And I want to hear from the 3 of you.
Well, I think I once looked up the word rebuke. And what do we think the word rebuke means? Huh? Jesus rebuked the storm. When I looked it up, it meant to calm and to heal. Well, I had no idea. And you think about it, when he rebuked the storm, what happened? There was a great calm. And so this sense of calm is, you might also say, the lack of fear. Removing the fear. And the disciples in that boat were so afraid. They were just terrified they were going to drown. And Jesus said, "Fear not. Why fear ye of little faith?" And he rebuked the storm. And that's what we have to do, is bring that sense of calm and peace. And what does she say about The heaving surf foams itself away, and beneath is a great settled calm. So that would be my thought of it.
I always love it when Mrs. Eddy gives some of her statements where she says, this is what we must do, or this is what's most important.
Page 15, right?
All through,
the must
but-
page.
That's right. So, but what does she say? What we most need is the prayer of fervent desire for growth in grace, expressed in patience, meekness, love, and good deeds. All of those basically refer to the idea of love. If you're patient, you're more loving. You can go through the other. If you're meek, you're more loving to yourself. So, you know, that's one of the things that I have been working with through this challenging time, that idea that, you know, I don't need to know more about the problem. I just need to know more about the solution. What does she say about God, about prayer? She says, it's our ignorance of God that produces apparent discord, and the right understanding of him restores harmony. So what do I need? I need to ask the question, Father, Mother, God, what more do I need to know about you? I don't need to turn on the news and try to find out more about the problem. That's sort of been that's my go-to. I love that. I love that reference because it simplifies my work. Somebody calls, they've got a problem. Oh, dear, what am I supposed to do? Father, Mother, God, what more do I need to know about you? And that will take me mentally to the answer to the problem. So that's the way I work on those things.
Well, lately I've been noticing that Mrs. Eddy says to silently address. In other words, if we're listening to the problem, we usually hear the problem, and there's no law against that, but what am I doing when I'm hearing the problem? I'm sure nurses are doing this constantly, and that you address silently. The first thing isn't verbal. It's something so deep and profound to address in my own consciousness. I guess we're saying kind of the same thing, but that idea of silent, first silently, and then it will come. What else, if anything, needs to be said? I find that is a more spontaneous, it's being present with God, with the individual.
I've got a friend who says some of the best prayers are prayers without words. That's the prayer where you just sit quietly and just feel yourself embodied, embraced, loved. And I found that a real effective, the same kind of thing, silence. It's great.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
We have time for a short exchange. If you would like to.
What about, I'd like to explore just for a minute a little bit more, something we talked about at the, when we were preparing for this, is that idea of the relationship of the patient, the practitioner, and the nurse. I think sometimes people don't understand exactly how that all works. And I'm not sure, I'm not included in that category. I mean, I do basically know how it works. I've been doing this with patients at Broadview for a long time. I went to the journal in 1994. That was when I was 12. So, but you guys have some ideas about that relationship?
We're asking you.
Yeah, we could do that.
It seems to me that it's a trust relationship, trusting that each individual is holding up their part, like Robin was talking about the braid, and that strength is equal with each one and recognizing the power and the strength in each strand of that braid. That the work the practitioner is doing is respected and honored. That the work that the Christian Science nurses are doing is well thought out and done with that foundation of demonstrable Christian Science. And that patient is committed to their course and willing and receptive. And it truly is a partnership. I think it's a partnership of trust.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
It should be that we have to continue.
We have our Zoom audience, so we need to, here, I have the microphone.
Oh, we do?
We have to see continuously how God sees us, that we are all practitioners, that we are all nurses in the eyes of God. And even the patient can be a practitioner. Even the guest can be a nurse. So we have to see how God sees us.
One of the things that, when I went through class instruction, on the last day, my teacher got up front and said, okay, congratulations. You are all now Christian Science practitioners. And you were in the full-time practice of Christian Science. My mouth kind of dropped. It's like, well, wait a minute, wait. He said, you're not quite journalisted yet, but you're all in the practice. And what I've realized as part of this job and this part of the ministry and this part of my life and our lives is equally, we're all Christian Science nurses. And whether it's nursing a facility, nursing a home, nursing a friendship, nursing a relationship with other professionals, we're all Christian Science nurses. And if we own that deep in our souls, in our thoughts, then that's where the millennium comes in that Mrs. A talked about us bringing in, is we own, is that every one of us, this class taught as a practitioner, and every one of us in this room and on Zoom, and in the entirety of man, not just Christian Scientists, we're all Christian Science nurses. We're nursing each other.
Let's share something with you. Why is a diamond a symbol of activity? Hmm? Doug?
The diamond is a symbol of activity because of the reflections that go on, the way the diamond is cut, the way the light bounces around inside, the way that the diamond, in reflecting the light, looks completely different, and it takes its own individual beautiful character by itself.
Now, the clearer the diamond, the brighter the sparkle. And we're all diamonds. The clearer our thought, the more transparent our thought, the greater the light that shines through us. Truth doesn't come to us from the outside. It's a subjective inner power that shines from within. She says the sunshine of truth invigorates and purifies. How hard did the diamond have to work? Not at all. It just had to be clear. Have a clear thought, transparent thought, so the light shines through us. Grace. How do you define grace? You already talked, Doug. I'm sorry. How do you define grace?
The effect of God understood. Mary Baker Eddy.
That's wonderful. I'd have a unique definition of grace. Power without force. It's that light shining through us. And that's what the nurse and the practitioner and the patient, we're not doing anything. we're reflecting that subjective inner power and allowing it to shine. And we support each other.
Thank you all very much for the wonderful, wonderful presentation.
Thank you. I think so. Is it time to eat?
Almost, almost. Thanks, everyone. That was a wonderful panel. Loved all that discussion. We're just going to close now by singing a hymn together, 123, and that hymn is printed in the program, and going to ask everyone on the Broadview staff to come up front and join together singing that.
Lori, you can't get out of it.
and a benediction for us all. May the Lord bless and protect you. May the Lord's face radiate with joy because of you. May he be gracious to you, show you his favor, and give you his peace. Amen.
So we have a lovely buffet lined up in the other room, so you can go through and get your plate, come back in here, and then our family room up front, you can sit down there. And at 12:30, we're going to have a tour. If you'd like to come by the fountain, enjoy the tour. Thank you all.
Good.